Hello friends, welcome to Selenium tutorial. This is video 15 of this Selenium video tutorial series. In this video I will talk about CSS selector for Selenium WebDriver and different ways to find customized CSS path which we will use in CSS selector. In my earlier videos I talked about what are different types of selectors which we can use for finding the elements on the web page, right? So they are like ID name, then we have XPath, then we have CSS selector, then we have tag name, right? So out of that, in my earlier videos I discussed about uh, XPath in details, how to find customized XPath by using various techniques, right? So in this video I'll talk about CSS selector and different ways to find customized CSS path. For this I'll use one demo website, automation practice. I'll use this website to show you how we can find a customized CSS path. So let me go to its registration page. Fine, so this is the registration page of this website. Now let's inspect this page by using Firepath. Okay, no, let me show you from the top. Okay, so okay, so this page starts from body, right? It starts from HTML, then in HTML we have header and body, right? So this is the HTML structure of this page, right? So in body, let us say I want to go to these fields like this title, first name, last name, right? So it would be under body, it would be under page, then it would be under this column container. I'll go in column container, then in column container it would be under columns. So like if I move this mouse over the particular tag, then you can see it gets highlighted. That means that is a part of that particular tag name tag. So class, okay, so it is under class row. Then in class row we have center column, in which we have no slide, we have form, this. Okay, so this is the form. Fine. So okay, so this is the form. So everything like this, all the elements, this title, first name, last name, email address, all these fields are under this form tag. Form is the tag and it has ID, this, right? Now let us say okay, let me go to my slide. Now first thing is, what is CSS selector? Let me open my notepad. Okay, CSS. Now this CSS stands for cascading style sheet. Now what this means is, I'll show you. So this cascading style sheet is, you can see here something CSS, right? So what is this is, so this CSS cascading style sheet, so what it denotes is how your web page should look. Your web page have these fields, that is fine, it has this drop down, it has this check boxes and all, that is fine, but what is the position of those check boxes or your drop box or whatever it is, your fields, what is the position, then like what is the border, what is the size, right? So everything will be maintained under this CSS, right? So if you see this, so this is global.css for this particular page, right? So you can see here margin, padding, vertical alignment, everything, you can find all the property for this page and this CSS, right? So By using these properties, and along with the properties by using some other tags and the attributes which are used for designing the web page, we use to find CSS path. So CSS stands for cascading style sheets. These are used for styling the different elements of an HTML web page, right? So this is my HTML web page. For styling the web page, we do use it CSS. In the .css file I have shown you here, so this is my .css file. We can locate specific elements of the web page and then style them, like set their font size or width or height from this CSS file, right? So we will see today how to find out a unique CSS path from this property. Fine. So go to your fire path, and in fire path, from this drop down, earlier it was XPath, just select as a CSS path, so that we will use CSS path for this particular element, let us suppose. Now let me go to this first name. Okay, so this is under this class. Fine. Now the first way to find CSS path is by using ID, right? And note that if you are using ID, then we need to use hash as a prefix. Now this particular field, so this is the input field, first name, and let us say I want to enter value in this first name field by using Selenium WebDriver. Then first what I need to do is I need to find a web element of this particular input field, right? Input box, right? So the input box is having ID, having class, having name and type as a text, right? So based on the ID, so first thing is by using ID we will use, so ID here is first name, right? So in CSS it is very simple. We know as per W3 standards, ID should be unique, right? If the web page is designed by following W3 standard, then it should have a unique ID. Each and every field should have a unique ID. And in to find CSS path by using ID, it should begin with hash and then simply your ID. So that's it. So if you enter, you can find this field is highlighted. So that means this CSS path we can use for finding the web element first name by using the ID, that is first name. Fine. So you can see the another next field, last name, right? So let me show you for last name. For last name you can see, can you see hash last name? It has highlighted last name field, right? So this is how you can use ID to find CSS path uniquely. The next one is class. Fine. So you can see each tag, or I can say each field on the web page have particular class. So if I tag this class, right, but in most of the cases class will not be unique. You have to use a class in combination with other attributes, right? Because what happens with class is, if this first name, last name, company and email, if all these four fields are having similar properties, then they will belongs to a similar class, right? So this class name will not be unique. Let us check if the class name is unique, and note that if you are using a class, then we need to use dot as a prefix. Remember, for a hash for ID and dot for a class. Now if I am using dot and then my class name is form control, then you can see it has highlighted 23 matching nodes. So it is showing at the bottom, you can see 23 matching nodes, right? So this particular class form control contains 23 fields, right? So so we cannot use this because it is not a unique, it has 23 matching nodes. We need to find out uh, the web element along with some other attributes. So let us talk about it when we use a attribute. Now what is attribute? Let us say, let us go to okay, so here we are. It is customer last name. Okay, so this is the last name. Now how we can use attribute to find out unique XPath. Now what is meant by attribute? Attribute is nothing but ID is an attribute, class is an attribute. So what is this web page consist of? Web page consists of XML. XML consists of tags and attributes. So this is a tag name, input is a tag name, label is a tag name, div is a tag name, right? And this id is attribute, and value for this attribute id is this. Class is a attribute, and value of the class attribute is this. Then we have this on key up as attribute, and its value is this one. Then we have type as attribute, and value is this. We have name as attribute, and value is this, right? So let us see how we can use tag name and attribute. What is the tag name? Tag name is input. So what you can do is you can use input square bracket, and what we will use, let us say I want to use id, right? So what is the tag name, then your id is equal to, what is your id for this page is customer last name. Now can you see one matching node is found, which is your customer last name, right? In the similar way you can use customer name, customer last name. So you can find here a property name, and it has the same value as id, so I'll just give it as a name, and it should return the same result, right? It is showing one matching node. So this is how we can use tag and attribute name to find out a CSS path uniquely. We can use any attribute, you can use type, we can use okay, let us see. If I am using type is equal to text, what it will return? It will return a many matching nodes, because can you see it is showing 16 matching nodes, because all these matching nodes, first name, last name, email, has the tag name as input, and it has a type as a text, right? So it is not a unique, it is showing 16 matching node. So we should use something as a unique. Right, so customer last name is a unique id for this particular field. Now we can use multiple attributes, we can use tag and multiple attributes. So let us say if I am using type, I have shown you, if I am using type is equal to text, it will return me what has happened, input type. If I am using type is equal to text, then it is returning me a 16 matching node. But along with this attribute type, if I am using another attribute, let us suppose id is equal to this, then it will show me a only one matching node, because this id is unique. So this is how we can use a multiple attributes. Even we can use another attribute, let us say I am using third attribute, name is equal to customer last name, that is fine, that is a matching, right? So this is how we can use a multiple attributes to find a unique CSS path, and this is my tag name. another way, okay, one thing I missed is I've shown you how we can find by using id. So we can use hash and id, right? So we can use it by using a combination of tag name and id, right? So input hash, input is my tag name, hash is indicates it is id, hash denotes it is id, and customer last name is the value of the id attribute, right? So this is how we can use customer dot tag name and attribute name to find a unique css path. In the similar way we can use a class as well. If I'm using this class, we use a class by using dot, replace the spaces with dot. Again you find there are 4 matching nodes, right? And if I want it with tag name input, then you can see again 4 matching nodes, right? So we can use tag name and id or tag name and class. Okay, fine. So till now we have covered id, class, attribute, that is by using tag name and id or tag name and class, then tags and attributes, then tags and multiple attributes. Now there is something called as substring in CSS, right? So let me take this example. Okay, input id is equal to this. Fine. Okay, in one, let us say in some case I'm not sure what my text will end with, right? If I know only, if let us say I do not know the full id, I just know id is equal to customer underscore fi, I don't know the full id, then what I'll do is I will use a substring, and substring is this for starting text. Okay, so okay, I have entered somewhere. Let me type it again and put id is equal to this, right? And as I said, if I'm not sure about the complete id, if I know only the id start, what id starts with, if I know what only with what only id starts with, then I will use the substring as a vertical triangle, right? In this case it will give me a matching result where id will start with this particular value which I am giving here. If I am not giving a substring over here, can you see it is not matching any node because this id is not found. This is not a complete id, this is just a start of the id, and to indicate that I need to use the special character, right? Now can you see it is showing one matching node, right? So the symbol vertical triangle, we use it for a describing starting text. Now let us say if I know the last few words of your particular attribute, let us say I just know r underscore first name of the id attribute for this particular field, right? Then what I should use, I should use a dollar sign, I should use a dollar sign which will indicate, can you see it is showing a matching result, right? The dollar sign will show that okay, this is the end with for particular attribute, right? So this vertical triangle is used for start with. Okay, so in XPath we have matching, we have similar method called as starts with. Here in XPath we have similar method called as ends with, right? So you can watch my earlier video tutorials for this XPath, right? So in XPath we have different methods called as start with, ends with, whereas in CSS it is simple, it is just a symbol, vertical triangle for starts with, dollar sign for ends with. Now if you are not sure about start and end, if you know, okay, the middle few characters in between this ID field is mer underscore first, right? If you enter, it will not show you any matching, but if you use star there, id star, then it should show you a matching result, right? Because the star will indicates that it will find out it will look for this particular value given over here in the tag name attribute, which is in between, not from start, not from end. It will look at a middle somewhere, right? So this is how we can use a substrings, vertical triangle starts with, dollar sign ends with, and star describes containing text. So in XPath we have a method called as contains. We have a method called contains to perform a similar operations, right? So these are the different methods, which are simple one: id, class, attribute, tag name, and multiple attributes and substring matches. There are few other ways to find out CSS path. Let us talk about it. First thing is direct child. Okay, now what is direct child? To know this, you should be familiar about the HTML structure, right? So let me show you. So fine. So this is the form ID for this particular form. If I am using this form ID, for ID we use hash, right? So if I am using this, can you see the whole form is highlighted, right? Now under this form we have multiple divs. So if we consider this particular tag form as a parent, then the child for this particular form parent is these multiple divs. So these are parent, these are childs, and these are grandchilds to this parent. So parent, child, grandchild, right? So what do you mean by direct child? Okay, let me go to the particular form first. So this is form. Okay, so this is the form, and let us say if I want to find all these divs, right? If I want to find all these divs which are a direct child, right? And these are a grandchilds. These all divs are a direct child, right? Then how we can use this? I can use this symbol and tag name. Can you see all the divs, all the direct childs to this particular form are highlighted, right? 1 2 3 4, it is showing 4 matching nodes, right? So if I want to find a direct child, then what I need to use? I need to use a greater than symbol. The greater than symbol will give you a direct child. Whereas if I want to find a subchild, then what I can do is I just need to give a space and hit enter, alright? So this is the form name. Under this particular form, it will list all the divs. Just by giving the space. Can you see 27 matching nodes? So it will give you all subchilds and childs. Fine. So this is how we can find a direct child by using greater than symbol, subchild by using a space. Now ninth one is nth child. Now let us say I have this particular form. And from this particular form, as in relative XPath, as in absolute XPath, it starts with your first like a root node from HTML, right? So it will grow from HTML, then page, then div, then div, then div, like that, right? So if in this case, let us suppose I want to go from this from to uh, first name. Let us say I want to go for, okay, so this is my from, sorry, form, and from this form I want to go to this input first name, right? So I want to go for this form to this div to this div, and this div to this input. Now how can, so there is something, okay, so what I'll do is I will go to this form first. So this form, and this is ID of this form, so I am at this form. Now what you want to do is from this form you want to go to this first div, right? So what you can do is you can go to div by using this nth child method, right? So what you can do is you can use a greater than symbol, right? So this greater than symbol is for direct child, so it will look for a direct child under this form, right? And then what you can do is you can give the tag name. So tag name for this is div then colon and nth child of 1, right? So how this works, so first it will find this form by using this, then by using this greater than symbol it will find a immediate child, direct child, right? And this direct child is a div, right, with child 1. So this is div with child 1. If I give this as a 2, it should go to second. Can you see? It is going to second div. If I am giving 3, it will go to third div, right? But I want to go to this first, I will keep it as a first, right? Now under this I want to go to where, this div, right? So again this div is a child div to this div, right? This is parent div and this is child div. So again, and it is a immediate child. Sorry. So to go to immediate child, I will use a greater than symbol, and it is div again, div, and again nth child, and it is 2. I'll let you know why it is 2, because this is header. You can find a header over here, right? So this header will take a position 1, and this div will take a position 2, and I want to go to this first name, so this first name is a div 3. So that is why I'll give it as a div 3. Now can you see I am on the first name, I can say this as a first name box. Fine. Now under this first name I am not on the field yet, I am in the box which containing a label and box. So under this I have to go to input box. So how we can do it? Again it is a child, so greater than symbol and just a tag name, right? So now can you see I am at a input tag by from this form, right? So first I was on form, then child 1, then child 3, and then a input, right? So I hope you are clear. So this is how this nth child works. This is how this nth child works. Now the next is nth last child, right? So let us say I am at this form, and there are 4 divs under this particular form. But if I want to go to a last child, that is this child, then what I'll do is div nth, I'll use div nth, then last, then child, and from last how much, first, from last first. So this is my form. From this form I am going to the last first, right? So last first, right? I am on the last immediate. This greater than symbol indicate immediate. if I am giving it as a 2, then it will give a last but 1. If I am giving it as a 3, it will give me a second one. If I am giving it as a 4, then it will give a last fourth. That is the first one in this case, right? So this is how this uh, nth last child works. The next is nth first child. So if you want to find the first child in the similar way, what you can do is we can use first. Okay, now let us see how we can use this sibling. Now what is meant by sibling? Sibling is nothing but the divs which are at same level. Let us say if I am going to this form, then these are 4 siblings, right? So if I am at this first div, if I am at this first div, then from this first div, how I can go to this second div which is sibling to this first div, or how I can go to this third div which is sibling to this first and second div. So this can be achieved by using this symbol plus and tilde, right? So what we'll do is, first I am at this form, right? So from this form what I'll go is I'll go to first div. So to the first div we can go by using nth child 1, right? So I am on first div. Now if I want to go from this first div to its sibling div, that is second div, then what I can do is I can simply use plus div. That's it, I am on second div. If I want to move to third div, then I can use another plus third div. If I want to go to fourth div, I can use another plus, right? So that is how we can go to sibling by using plus symbol. Now if I want to select all the divs from this particular div which I have selected, so these are the 4 siblings, what you can do is you can use a tilde symbol and div. So sorry, so it will select all the siblings to this particular div. So plus symbol will select only one div, only next sibling, whereas tilde symbol will select all matching sibling to particular div, right? So this is how we can find a CSS by using this sibling, right? So these are the most commonly used ways to find a customized CSS path by using ID, class, attribute, tag and attribute, tags and multiple attributes. Then we saw substring. In substring we have this vertical triangle which is used to start with method, then dollar symbol ends with, and star which describes the containing text. Next we saw what is direct child, how to locate a direct child. Direct child is located by using a greater than symbol. Then we saw what is subchild. Subchild is located by using space. Then we saw a nth child method, then nth last child, first child, and then finding sibling. Under sibling we saw plus symbol which is used to find immediate sibling, only one sibling which is immediate, and by using tilde symbol we can find all sibling which are at a same place, right? So this is all about this CSS selector for Selenium WebDriver. In my next tutorial I'll talk about difference between XPath and CSS selector, which should be preferred, right? So for more videos keep referring my blog and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks.